I talked a little bit about California yesterday. I want to talk a little bit more about California. And you think about it, the blue states, New York, same way. They said they had 15 years of Democratic rule, or maybe longer, of Democratic rule there in New York. Do they have the same thing we have out here in California, where when we vote for governor, chances are we're going to be voting for two Democrats to run for governor. So we're not going to get a Democrat and a Republican running for governor, and you can have one of each party. You can have two Democrats. That's why even our Senate, our state Senate, and our state Assembly is dominated by Democrats. Is that what's happened in New York also? Maybe it is. I mean, we've got these socialist senators like Bernie Sanders, and we got AOC, Olivia AOC, and Acosta-Cortez. Then you got that gal up there in Minnesota. I think of her name in a minute. Ilhan Omar. Yes. These are all socialists. Even Ilhan Omar came from a socialist country, and she immigrated to the United States, and now she's a congresswoman. So this socialist thing has never been. It's never been something that's worked in any country, whether it's Russia, China, that's socialist. Run North Korea, and it's never been something that's worked. The country, the government, in other words, can't take care of the country. In other words, they're gonna, whenever what they say, the grocery lines. If they like, he wants this Zohran Mamdani. I can't really get his name right, but anyhow, he's running for mayor of New York. They say he's a socialist. Everybody knows that it's not going to work there. He wants to take grocery stores and have their own state-run grocery stores. How is that going to work? Is that going to be like Cuba, where they had the food lines? When Castro did that, I don't know, but it seems to me like this is starting and has already started. Like I said, with Bernie Sanders, although he's a socialist, he's been on the Senate and he caucuses with the Democrats, but he's an independent, so to speak. But they can't elect this guy because the domino effect is going to start there. And it's just going to start. One thing's going to go down, and the next thing, before you know it, we're going to have more and more of this socialist, the Socialist Party, part of the Socialist Party, of the Democrat. I'm going to say the Democrat, not Republican, but the Democrat Party. A lot of it's going to the socialist side, and everybody knows that socialism does not work, and it never has. So we don't need that to happen. So New York has got the same problem that California's got. This dominant Democrat Party that's been running the state, and that's why they say New York has the highest taxes. Well, I don't know. I'll beg to differ with that because California's got pretty high taxes. Insurance, everything is higher here. The cost of living is so much higher here in the state of California. But I guess it rivals New York, and it probably does rival Illinois also. Chicago. Maybe that's the next one that's going to happen. But we need to set the record straight here in California. I say the record straight. We need to get a Republican governor to run the state. Is that going to make a difference? Maybe, maybe not. Not when the body of the Senate and the Assembly is dominated by Democrats. I don't know that having a Republican governor is going to make it that much of a difference. But we have to start someplace. So we can't have Kamala. Come on, Kamala as the governor of the state of California. She's gotten her way in this state before anybody really knew that she didn't have any brains. So again, I employ everyone, Californians. I don't care what what party you belong to. We need to get someone in there that's going to take care. Like I said in my last podcast, the template has been set. You know, I mean, Trump just signed a bill for for this cryptocurrency. I guess that's the next biggest thing since the internet. I don't know. I'm gonna look a little more. That's just he just signed this. So I don't know a whole lot about that cryptocurrency, but I'm gonna look into it some more, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. And they're talking about that might end the Fed, right? The Fed is privately owned. The Fed isn't run by the United States, but they're the ones who dictate the interest rates and who gets a loan and what interest rate or the other. That's why they've been trying to get rid of the Fed for a long time. I mean, I guess President Kennedy signed in June or July of 1963. He signed I don't know if it was a bill. I don't think it was a bill. I think it was Kennedy signed to get rid of the Fed back in '63. 5 months later, he was assassinated. They've tried to assassinate Trump, twice already? They've had numerous people that keep saying that they're trying to assassinate him from Iran and other countries. And, that probably has something to do with it, because the people in charge, or the people that run the Fed, or are a part of the Fed, they're like the wealthiest people in the world. And I think that's something that most people know. I mean, that's where the control of the money is in the Fed. And so that's why he wants to fire the director of the Fed. So that's another topic for another time. But that all is tied in, actually. But we have to get California. Yeah, I want to see New York do the same thing. I don't want to see this Zoran Mamdani. I don't want to see him as a mayor of New York. I think if they have 4 people running, that's gonna cut back the vote a little bit, and that'll give him a better chance of winning. They need to get just 2 people running. Maybe him and the existing mayor right now. Maybe he's going to be running as an independent. They need to just get 2 people running, so this Mamdani doesn't have a chance, a very good chance anyway, of winning that. But here in California, we need a Republican governor. We need someone who is fiscally responsible as far as spending money. Like Gavin Newsom doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, look at the bullet train. We talked about that before. And how the bullet train, just on my last podcast, I mentioned that Sean Duffy is pulling the plug on any kind of any more support from the U.S. taxpayer, from the government, from the federal taxes. It's not going to be given to the state of California anymore for the bullet train. They're going to finish it. Yeah, somehow or another they're going to finish it because it's already started. They're not going to sit there and just let it set now and grow tumbleweeds. They're going to finish it, but the money's going to come out of the taxpayer's pocket, that's for sure. That's why we need someone fiscally responsible on spending money. Maybe this Steve Hilton, maybe he's a guy. I don't know. I'd like to see it. And maybe some of the money, I don't know. Okay, it's supposed to cost $33 billion from its incentive, from the start. It was supposed to be $33 billion. And then somehow it's up to $128 billion already. And they didn't really start building it. This started in 2003, or was it 2000? I think it was 2008 is when they first had the idea. And now it's ballooned up to $128 billion. Where's all that money at? I met a guy one time, because I see the bullet. I drive underneath the bullet train all the time where they're building it. I do some jobs over in the Corcoran area, and I go by this all the time, so I see it. But I met a guy one time at the coffee shop, and he was doing a study on the bullet train and how it was going to affect the ecology there around the area, how it was going to affect that. And he was doing a study on this. And I said, well, you're doing a study on how this bullet train is going to affect, you know, going through the Central Valley here. They already started building it. They're already, you know, building the infrastructure on the track. They haven't laid any track yet, but they're really building it. And now you're saying they're doing a study now? Shouldn't that have been done like in 2003 or 2008 back in then? And this was, I met this guy around 2018, 2019, and he was going to do an impact study on how that was going to impact the valley here. Well, that's a little bit late for that, but that's the way they spent the money, the way I see it. That's kind of like, that's a little bit too little too late, because now we don't really know what we're spending anything on, you know, or how it's going to impact anything. So there was a lot of, I think, a lot of wasteful spending now. And you know, maybe California needs its own Doge, right? Like the federal government has, you know. They found a lot of wasteful spending. I guess USAID is completely, that's going to be completely gone. USAID, and a lot of that was a lot of money being spent on other countries, not just here in the United States. When I saw I remember seeing it, and it said U.S. aid. Well, USAID, but it said U.S. aid. I thought it was just aid for people that lived in the U.S. But in fact, it was in other countries. This USAID was for other countries. So that's going to stop. So there's a lot of fraudulent spending, a lot of wasteful spending that's gone on in the U.S. government. It's going on in the state of California also. I mean, the bullet train is just the next biggest, or the biggest thing that's been happened. That, well, Gavin Newsom, you can't say enough bad things about him. I mean, come on, the Pacific Palisades that burnt down because they didn't have any water in their reservoir above there for fire hydrants to put to put the fires out. You know, the fire, I talked about that, the fire up in Sonoma, up in Napa Valley, the fire that was a few years ago. We had floods a couple of years ago. This is different stuff that Democrats are doing, and they're not doing it right. So maybe it's time to make a change. And maybe we get California back on track. We got the 5th largest economy in the world. We can turn this around, and you know it can. I mean, look what Trump's done in 6 months. And now Biden had the presidency for 4 years, and in 4 years he screwed it all up. In fact, well, who really knows? Who knows that even Biden was even there at any time? He never seemed to be cognitive of anything that he was doing. Nobody really knows who was running the country during that period, but we got in a bad way. In fact, Trump said other leaders of other countries said, you know, we were in so bad a shape that just they didn't know if the United States was ever going to come back. But apparently it has. He said we're the hottest country of all, you know, of all the countries around the world. Everybody wants to do business with the United States. Well, let's do that with California. People want to do business with California. California's got a lot of stuff here. I mean, the economy here, like I said, it's not the 5th largest economy for nothing. So we can do something here. We can turn this around. But just see what's happened in New York. This Zohran Mamdani, they can't elect him. He's a socialist. That means, okay, you say socialist, but it's really communist, right? The socialist, communist, none of that has ever worked. And a socialist goes hand in hand with communism. Socialism, communism, all pretty much the same thing. It's not the way we do it here in the United States. It's not part of a democracy and how it's supposed to work. So let's see if we can't straighten this out, and hopefully they won't elect this guy, and hopefully California. Steve Hilton, he could be the guy we need here in California. I like him. He's a pretty sharp guy. I don't know what I know. He's conservative. I know that much, but you know, he is from Britain originally. Now he's a United States citizen, and he does live in California, so he can run for governor. But I still don't know that much about what his policies would bring. But it's got to be a whole lot better than what Gavin Newsom did. So let's see what happens. and let's vote somebody else in. And then we want to talk a little bit about this cryptocurrency. I know this was just signed in by Donald Trump, and they say my wife was telling me anyway that this is the biggest thing since the internet is this cryptocurrency, and a lot of that has to do and is tied in with the Fed, where the Fed's going to be here, or the Fed's not going to be here anymore. I don't know. They've talked about that so many times over the years, and the Fed has too much control. You know, it's I, they set the interest rates for everybody else, and Trump said the interest rates could be 3 points lower than what it is right now, and we'd be a whole lot better shape. And Trump, I believe in Trump. You know, he does have a degree I just said it a few minutes ago, that Wharton School of Economics. So he's got a degree there, a bachelor's degree, a bachelor's science degree is what it's called, at the Wharton School of Economics. But he's getting it done for the United States. He's getting it done for the country. Let's see if we can get somebody in California to do the same thing. The template has been set. The template is there for them to use. All they got to do, I mean, okay, there could be some adjustments one way or the other. Of course, there will be. But let's see what happens. Let's put somebody in there that's going to be able to do something. We can't put Kamala Harris. We can't put Karen Bass, the governor, not the governor, but the mayor of Los Angeles. I don't know if she would run for governor anyway, but she is not a leader. In the Democratic Party, they don't have leaders. They just have people that want things for themselves and what's going to line their pockets. And that's why a lot of those people in the U.S. government, from the government standpoint, Trump's gotten rid of those people. It didn't bring anybody into his cabinet then that was going to hurt the government. Everything's been going. It's been soaring. It's was it last month we were $27 billion to the good, and I don't know what that means, but they said that it's $27 billion. We got above the budget. I mean, that's $27 billion we got extra. I don't know how that works, but it sounds good to me. And as long as things keep going in that direction, I can't see it getting any. I see California just follow their lead. Get somebody in there that's going to do something for us in California. In New York, apparently they need to do the same damn thing. So everybody's, the people that don't want to vote. This is all for you. And I don't care what side of the fence you stand on, you got to do the right thing. Okay, so this is Coffee Break with Jimmy. We'll talk a little bit more tomorrow, maybe a little bit about this cryptocurrency as soon as I really know a little bit more about it. I don't know that much about it, so I can't really say a whole lot of things. But anyway, please subscribe, press the like button, share, and hit that notification bell. So next time I'm on, you'll see what I've got to talk about. Thanks.